Welcome from the Villanova School of Business. Here, I'm Dean Joyce Russell, and I'm so excited to be joined by some of our star students who are here to talk to us a little bit about what they did this past summer in terms of some of their internships. So if you could all just briefly introduce maybe yourselves and where you worked this summer.
Me first?
Sure.
I'm Patrick Keough. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a junior here at Villanova. I'm a finance and business analytics major, and this summer I worked for the Milwaukee Admirals, who are a professional hockey team out of Milwaukee. In terms of projects, I basically did everything that had to do with marketing the team during a general sports off-season. So a lot of web content, news updates on the websites and apps, just making creative stuff. It's a good time.
That's great. Yep. That's great. And I see you're sporting their shirts, so that's fantastic.
I hope they're watching back in Milwaukee.
So Becca, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you did.
Okay. I'm Becca Gleeson. I'm from Plymouth Meeting, which is like 15 minutes away. I'm a junior in the business school. I'm a marketing, MIS, business analytics, and honors major. And over the summer, I worked at SAP in Newtown Square, the headquarters, which is 20 minutes away from here, which was really awesome. And I worked in the value assurance department. So some of the projects I did was I shadowed one of the technical quality managers on different calls, seeing how they work with their customers to implement SAP software. And I also got to work on a research project researching new innovative softwares for SAP, like machine learning and big data and things like that, and how the people that worked in my department could implement that with their customers, which is really awesome.
Did you know much about that before you did that?
Not a lot. I definitely learned a lot. We did a lot of training, which was really awesome because now I can come back and I have that knowledge of SAP software, but it was a great opportunity to be able to learn things like that.
That's great. That's great. And Kyle, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm Kyle Coleman. I'm a senior finance and business analytics major from Montgomery, New Jersey. And this summer I spent my summer at McKinsey Company. They're a management consulting firm. And there I did a lot of financial modeling, building some dashboards, and working one-on-one with my client on building up profitability for my client.
Okay. So just any of you, think of in terms of how, so you're juniors and seniors, how did, well, first off, you're a senior, so you now have a job.
Yes.
From McKinsey, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you're taking it.
Yes, I'll be returning in the fall.
That's fantastic. That's just incredible that not only did you have that internship, because we talk about that a lot with our prospective students. We talk about how the Villanova School of Business is a great place in terms of really preparing you for internships to then get those jobs. So you have the internship and you've actually translated that into a job. So have you all had very many internships prior to this? Maybe other summers or? Yes. Okay. So you've had other internships and?
Yes.
Okay. How many have you had?
3 or 4.
Wow.
Depends. So I worked for my dad at his hedge fund back in Milwaukee for a few summers in high school as just a general research intern looking up projects for like investment opportunities. And then the summer before last, I worked for the Milwaukee Brewers, so the professional baseball team.
Okay, you're going from sport to sport. That's awesome.
Right, just covering all my bases.
Okay.
That was a lot more fan interaction.
Sure.
Handing out bobbleheads and promotional items, scheduling theme nights and multicultural stuff.
That's great.
So it was different, but it was good. Really
okay. So you had a couple of internships while you were here at the Villanova School of Business, and that sort of helped you figure out what you wanted to do.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Becca, you said you've had some other internships too.
Yeah,
sure.
So last summer I actually worked for the marketing and communications department of the business school, which is really a cool opportunity.
Absolutely.
Kind of that marketing side of my major, not as much MIS, which is what I did this past summer.
Okay.
But it was a really great opportunity to be able to see like how an actual company, an actual business like brands themselves, and really great like real world experience, which is awesome.
That's great. Kyle, what about you?
I've done 4 as well.
4 internships prior to senior year.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great.
So I studied abroad my freshman year on the Global Citizens Program and did an international internship. And then I've worked for several consulting firms and a local company doing various different types of organization work and really gaining experience into different industries and determining that I was interested in management consulting, kind of finding that path through various internships, a lot of them through support of Villanova and finding opportunities.
Well, I mean, this is really good for me to hear because I talk to prospective students all the time about that our students do get lots of internships. So, I mean, you are 3 people that, obviously have had these internships. And just how did the internships really help you know what you did want to do or didn't want to do, maybe next job? Because I think that's part of an internship, right? It's not that you're always going to have an internship and you're going to say, that's exactly what I'm going to do, but it's going to give you good insight about what you might want to do or might not want to do. So any thoughts about that?
Yes, I came in thinking I wanted to go down the Wall Street path.
Sure.
Went over to London, did an internship at FTI Consulting, a smaller consulting firm.
Yep.
And there I realized that I was really interested in the type of work. It was more team-oriented. It was still that high-impact work, and everyone seemed to be having fun what they were working on. So at that point I said, I didn't want to do finance anymore. I really wanted to do consulting and kind of took that shift. But it was through the internship, and having it so early on through the Villanova program was great to really realize that at an early stage.
That's
and then
great.
shift my focus from pursuing the Wall Street investment banking route towards that management consulting route.
And did you do that freshman summer?
Freshman spring semester.
Wow, okay. All right, so that's great. I mean, we talk about that a lot with, relative to many of our competitors, about how our students, they start classes as a freshman in the business school, and they also do get work experience pretty early on. And that in a lot of places you can't do that. You can't do that until maybe you're a junior. So you guys took a lot of business classes from freshman fall. How did those classes, you think, prepare you for the internships you've had and the one you just recently had? Thoughts, Becca? Do you have any?
Yeah, so I just took programming last spring, I guess it was, which is one of the MIS classes in the curriculum.
Great.
So it's programming for adaptive problem solving. That was with Professor Sue Metzger,
Wow.
which was my favorite class that I've definitely taken at all.
She's
of
a rock
Villanova.
star, Sue
yeah,
Metzger.
absolutely. And so that really helped me in my internship. Just learning how to think through like technological like issues definitely helped. And I also had the opportunity while I was at SAP. Some interns that were working in a department near us, who we became friends with, were working on a project and they were coding in JavaScript, which is what we learned. And
that's great.
the boy who was working on it had never coded before, so I was actually able to like sit with him and like show him how to do it, which was
that made you feel good.
yeah, definitely. Which I wouldn't have at all been able to know without taking that class, which is really awesome because I totally like remembered how to do it and was able to walk through and explain. So that definitely helped. And
why did you take that class? Is it because you were MIS?
yeah, so it's one of the
okay.
MIS classes.
Yeah.
It's one of the electives kind of,
Sure.
so you don't have to take it, but I was really interested in programming, so
Good
I
for
wanted
you.
to learn. So yeah.
Well, with
It was
the
great.
future change in technology, that's so important. How about Patrick? Any thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, freshman year. I'm looking over there, right? He's teaching business dynamics right now, Professor Borden, who is amazing.
He is amazing. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he introduced us in that class to all the different fields of business and like what we would be going into if we chose certain majors. And I haven't really done anything major oriented yet in terms of internships. I've done a lot of marketing, which I don't think I want to do, but I do want to work in sports.
But you learned
one
that
day.
from the
Right,
internships,
exactly,
which is great. Yeah.
Exactly. And then in terms of marketing, learning here, I'd have to say competitive effectiveness with Professor Zavalin and Arthur Knight's last semester.
Yep.
Just how to work as a team. Yeah, and all things marketing, what people look for, why they're interested in certain things.
Well, and in that class too, one of the things I love about that class, competitive effectiveness, is that you're working on a project.
Right.
Like you said, you're working with 10 people. You're working on a project. I've gotten to see a lot of the presentations, and they're just impressive. That sophomores and juniors are doing those kind of presentations for clients, which I think is one of the things that really helps you. We always hear great things about that from the employers, about those kinds of classes where you're actually working for clients. And Kyle, you must have done that too, because why else would you be interested in management consulting?
So I think those classes are great. I think Villanova does a great job of preparing you for the soft skills, so being able to present effectively and being able to work in teams. And a lot of that comes from the classes such as competitive effectiveness, or even every class seems to have a presentation component and a group work component. So I think that's something that differentiates Villanova, and that you're working together and you're really trying to solve a problem together. And a lot of times they give you real world data and say, create a presentation on what this means. So one of my classes, we had a final where we got NBA shot data, and he said, give a 15-minute presentation. That was the whole prompt, and that was just really neat to be able to say, working in a team of 4 students, we looked at what we could find and then gave a presentation as if we were presenting to fake clients of the NBA. And I think that was a really good opportunity that Villanova does, along with competitive effectiveness and some of the other courses here.
Well, and then you must have also, because you're going into consulting now with McKinsey, which we know is an incredible company, you obviously were involved with the consulting club.
Yeah.
So I know some of you all were involved with various clubs. So when we think about how do you get those great jobs, part of it is the coursework and working with these professors closely. Part of it is working with them and fellow students in some of the clubs and activities. So can you guys talk about any of that? Or were you involved with that club too, Kyle?
Yeah, so I co-run Villanova Consulting Group.
Oh, well, that helps.
It's a good opportunity. But through that club, we look to present students with opportunities to learn about consulting fields. We focus heavily on management consulting. We also focus on technology consulting for those interested in other areas of consulting. And we bring employers in for info sessions. We hold a consulting 101 panel with alumni ranging from analysts all the way up to senior partner of the various firms to talk about their experiences and to kind of share why consulting is a great place to start, and then open it up for networking so students are able to interact with other alumni and figure out if consulting is the right fit for them. And ultimately, we're not trying to push consulting. We're just saying, here's a great opportunity. We think it's a great place. Let's help you find out if consulting is the right fit for you. And if it's something you're interested in, we'll help prepare you for the interviews and help guide you to alumni to talk to.
Well, and I think one of the things I like is that, so we have, I don't know, it's like 25 plus different clubs in the business school itself, and freshmen can get involved. And I think one of the things that we're trying to do more of is do more education of just freshmen in fall of here's what careers in accounting look like, here's what careers in management consulting look like. And so getting students to participate in those kinds of things gives them an idea of, do I want to do that? Do I want to do this? I mean, what, and the fact that students are helping to run a lot of these club activities and bringing in employers, I think probably build your relationships, right? Yeah. Other clubs or professors that any of you have worked with, or?
As of last week, I'm actually on the exec board for the Business and Entertainment Society.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, which is...
that seems to fit you perfectly with all the stuff
exactly.
you're doing.
Yep. It kind of takes business and fashion, business and sports, and kind of combines them. So we have a pretty good mix of male, female, all ages. We had our first exec meeting yesterday. We have our first general body meeting tonight. So I'm excited.
And that's such a hot area. I get so many students that that come, and because we have such great student athletes at Villanova University, I was just talking to a recruit last week about they want to go into potentially the sports area or entertainment or, like you said, fashion. I mean, these are really hot areas right now that it seems like our students are very interested in, they're very involved in, and we have some faculty associated with that too.
And I'm on the hockey team here as well. So
great, okay.
I could probably say that most guys on the team would love to work in sports.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so you're a student athlete as well.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how you guys manage all the stuff you do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like amazing. So, Becca, any other thoughts about clubs or activities or?
Yeah, so freshman year, I came in knowing I wanted to be a management information systems major. So I started going to the society meetings, and that's actually
with Professor Keough, right?
So Professor Sue Metzger and Professor Keough, right?
Yeah,
both,
okay,
both help run the club. And yeah, so I started going to the meetings when I was a freshman, and that's actually how I got connected with Professor Metzger. I volunteered to help with a website for VU Women in Tech on campus.
Which is a great annual conference that
they have
put on. It's
an annual conference, bring a lot of alumni in, which is a really awesome way to get girls and faculty here involved and seeing like what they could possibly do. So I volunteered to do that at the meeting, and that's kind of how I developed a relationship with Professor Metzger, and she's actually the one who helped me get the internship at SAP, which is really awesome because I just would go to her and tell her what I wanted to do, like if I was unsure if something was right for me, and like even she taught the class that I was talking about, and she was the biggest supporter of me like through the process of finding an internship, and she helped me figure out a department I could work in at SAP and helped me through all of that, which was really amazing. Yeah.
And I think that's probably pretty, I mean, I feel great that our faculty and staff are so closely connected to our students in terms of they view students as that's what they do, right? They want to try to mentor you, help you, and then really enable you to get those successful internships and then those jobs down the road. What kind of lessons did you guys learn from your internships? What are some takeaways? Like even if it could be about not just the content, but like what did you learn about yourself, or like what you want to do, what you don't want to do? Any thoughts about any of that?
Yeah, so I think a couple big ones that I learned are ask questions. As coming in, they know that you don't know a lot. Like you're not expected to be an expert. And asking questions, if you're guiding along the right path, it shows that you're curious. It shows that you're in the right direction. You're really trying to learn. I think that's something that's important to do. And a lot of people seem to be nervous to ask questions because they think it'll show a weakness, but it actually shows a strength. And then the other one would be, don't be afraid to offer your opinion and make sure that you do offer your opinion. I know McKinsey is a very flat organization. So whether the advice comes from an analyst or a senior partner, it's viewed equally. And no decision is more important in a room. But I think that's something that is important to say, like, here's what I think and here's why I think it. And whether it's the right answer or not, being able to voice your opinion and really make your voice heard is something that's very valuable and offers new views that might otherwise get passed up or not offered. I think that's something that students should really make sure they focus on and really offer their true insights on how they feel to guide a decision.
Those are great tips. So did you know that going in, or did somebody say, hey, when you come here to McKinsey, you need to ask questions and you need to give input? I mean, how did you get that sort of knowledge that you should do that? Because that's fantastic.
I've always heard to ask questions, but just kind of throughout the internship, you just realize like asking questions guides you to the answer and helps you better your solution for the client. And then as far as participating, like they really get you involved there and make sure that you are participating. It's something that I definitely struggled with the first couple of weeks, but after a few weeks in, I started to really participate more, and I just saw the benefit of it. It's something that I would definitely recommend for anyone going into whatever industry. You're going to be in meetings, and make sure in those meetings you make your voice heard and don't just sit there and
That's a
listen.
good point, because that's one good way. I mean, and also it seems to be connected to initiative too. They probably saw you as, oh my gosh, he has a lot of initiative because he's asking questions, he's giving input, and he feels like he should. So you probably now like being in a company where you get to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, because you're going to work there. I mean, so that's cool. Okay, so how about for you guys, lessons learned, thoughts about that?
Yeah, so one of the big lessons I learned was that you really have to network when you're at companies, which I think is something that VSB really pushes here, and we have so many networking events. Like you could learn about any company if you tried hard enough. But that was really important for me at SAP. Again, Professor Metzger actually helped me go to a Women in Tech conference last spring where I met someone who worked at SAP, and I was talking about how I was going to be working at SAP over the summer, and they were like, when you get there, you have to call me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I did, and then that woman was great, and she introduced me to other people who introduced me to other people, and I got like the opportunity to be able to talk to so many people about their roles at SAP and kind of learn like what different options were that I could do and like different departments to go into, which is just a really great opportunity that wouldn't have happened unless I tried to actually talk to people, which I think is really important, something that students here at VSB definitely do take advantage of and should even more if possible. Because
I think we start that even at freshman year, right?
Yeah.
With the freshman
backpack
etiquette
to
and
briefcase
networking,
classes.
backpack to briefcase program.
Yeah, which is just a great part. I feel like VSB does a really great job of pushing, talking to different companies and networking and really like making those connections, which do end up helping and paying off in the long run.
So networking, that's a good tip. We hear that all the time, but that's a great example of how you were able to use it once you were in the firm to figure out, okay, what are the different kinds of jobs and options and things like that. So that's great, because you think about, you used it both to get in the firm and then once you were there. And we talk about that with Villanovans just in general, that Villanovans help Villanovans and the power of the Villanova network. And so I guess one of the tips could be for people is, tap into that network.
Yeah, I definitely had the opportunity to talk to a lot of Villanova alumni there too at SAP, which is awesome, because they're always willing to just share their story, and it was a great opportunity to be able to have that.
That's great. Okay, Patrick, you have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Lessons learned?
He kind of said already, just asking questions I think is huge. I think it makes a lot more sense to annoy someone and get it right the first time than it does to try it 3 or 4 times on your own. Just little things like how to use a copier and how to use softwares that like I hadn't used before. And then second thing was just to try new things. Like I, as a finance and analytics major, would have never dreamed of using like PowerPoint or like Corel Video Studio Editor. And to make these like promotional things, I had to use those softwares, and I ended up really liking them.
And how did you know to do that there? Is it just you ask questions and people said, wow, this would be a great way to do it?
Well, I mean, as the intern group, there were like 5 or 6 of us, and we all did the same jobs. So to make promotions, you have to like cut out players, so you like get them off the ice, and then you can put them in flyers, video things. I don't know what
we need to get you to help us with all that stuff
Yeah.
here. That's awesome. Great skill to have.
Spent a lot of time in Photoshop this summer. But,
oh, really? Yeah.
And then for our Man on the Street videos, we'd go downtown in Milwaukee and just ask people random trivia questions about like Summerfest, which is a music festival in Milwaukee, the State Fair, the World Cup, just like timely
Well, it
topics.
sounds like you not only, when you brought up ask questions, but then you really learned about other kinds of ways to do the job, but then just how to put yourself out there.
Right, exactly. So
which is a theme I'm hearing with all of you, is you've got to really put yourself out there, and you can't just sort of like just do the work and kind of be back here somewhere. You got to really make sure you get out and about and people notice you, and that you're it sounds like some of the professional development that we've done here at the School of Business at Villanova has really helped you with having the confidence to do that, maybe?
Yeah, even in terms of like networking with fans. In our Man on the Street videos and at State Fair, we were working like directly with them and hearing about how much they love the Admirals and how much they love coming to games and just taking their feedback and giving it to the rest of the employees at the organization.
That's great.
It meant a lot.
Okay.
Make us feel like we're making a difference.
So you guys are like junior, senior, so you're pretty advanced. What advice do you have for freshmen then? I mean, you've given us some great tips about asking questions, getting involved, networking. Anything, think back to your freshman self. Tips of what you might say to any of our freshmen?
My advice for freshmen and sophomores is to get experience in different areas. So whether you think you're interested in finance, marketing, analytics, take an internship in that area, but then also take an internship in another area and figure out where your passions lie. Because you're going to be spending a lot of time in work, you might as well find something you like to do. And by doing internships, it's a way to, for 3 months, figure out, is that something you want? And if it isn't, you just spend 3 months, not several years after graduation. And then from there, you're able to narrow down who do you speak with, what events do you go to, what skills should you build up. I think it's just important to figure out what you're interested in early on. And then from there, you have a clear path forward on getting into whatever firm or company you're looking to go into after graduation.
It's a great idea, and I think it helps people understand, don't be afraid to try different things, because a lot of our students have different multiple majors and minors, so just try different things. And it sounds like a lot of you guys did that. You tried different things. Okay, other thoughts you guys have?
In terms of getting an internship, that can be the hardest part in some regard. For me, it was different. I had to use personal connections back in Milwaukee, just because, like, as great as Villanova is, you don't really have ties to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and getting.
We have more of them
internships
now,
out
though.
there.
Yes.
All right, well, that makes me
Working
happy
on
to
it each
hear.
and every day. Yes. Now we have you.
Yeah.
In addition.
Yeah, right. I think that most companies don't usually look for freshmen.
Right.
So in terms of just using your own personal network and getting a job,
Sure.
just you have to try new things and find out what you like.
Yeah, and I think using your personal network is a great thing, because then you see where all the other potential connections are. So that's good insight. Okay, Becca.
I would say definitely talk to your professors, especially as a freshman. There's so many obviously new freshmen coming in, but if you take the time to make that personal connection with any of your teachers, they would be more than happy to help you find something you want to do. Even just telling them oh, I'm interested in whether it's sports or something.
Sure.
The chances of them knowing someone or knowing someone that knows someone that can help you get an internship are very high. And even just having them have your name in the back of their mind, if something comes up, would really help for opportunities. Because as you said, companies aren't necessarily always looking for freshmen, but there are lots of opportunities for freshmen to have if you're looking in the right places and if you're willing, like you said, also to try different things. So definitely just making sure that you're taking the time to make people know what you're looking for, and then the professors here would love to help.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the professors love to help, and I think you give a good insight about just get in front of them to let them know, because that's one of the things that they love doing is spending time with students to understand what are they passionate about or excited about, or maybe they just don't know, but they can make some of those additional connections. Well, you guys have given us fantastic tips, and we really appreciate the fact that, first off, you've had lots of internships, you got great experiences in your courses with the professors, you obviously have great relationships with them, and I've turned those into good internships and now into job opportunities. So we really appreciate your time and taking some time from your busy schedule. I'm sure you're all pretty busy to come here and give us your thoughts and insights and give those great tips for the students. So with that, we'd like to just thank you, and we'd like to tell our viewers thank you so much for listening in, and we look forward to you joining us for future Facebook Live events. I'm sure we're going to have plenty more from the Villanova School of Business. So thank you.